All right, welcome back. Today we are diving into what is honestly the most exciting part of any data project, the operationalize phase. This is the moment an invention leaves the lab and actually enters the real world, and we're going to break down exactly how that incredible journey happens. Okay, so picture this. You've built something absolutely brilliant, a data model that can predict and help and do all these amazing things. But now what? How do you actually get it out of your computer and into the hands of people who can really use it? That is the crucial question we're answering today. So let's kick things off by talking about how this invention finally goes live. This is all about that huge leap from theory to reality, from a concept to a tool that's actually out there working in the wild. So what does this word operationalize even mean? Well, think of it like this. Imagine you've built this super smart robot in a lab. Let's say it can predict when a classroom is about to run out of pencils. Awesome, right? Operationalizing is the moment you finally open those lab doors and let that robot into the classroom to actually start helping. It's the process of putting your amazing invention to work. And this really gets to the heart of a crucial distinction. On one side, you have the sandbox. That's your safe space, your lab. You can test things, mess around. It's all practice. But on the other side, you have the production environment. Whoa, that's the real deal. It's live, it's active, it's interacting with real-time data. The stakes here are way higher, and success isn't just about whether your code runs, it's about making a real impact. Now, getting from that safe little sandbox into the real world, well, it's not a single jump. You can't just flip a switch. It's actually a really carefully planned journey. So let's walk through the 6 essential steps that make sure a data model can actually survive and thrive out in the wild. Okay, so here's the roadmap for our model's big adventure. First, we're going to run a pilot. Then, we deploy to production. After that, it's all about bringing in the team, monitoring for accuracy, tracking those all-important KPIs, and then, well, you'll see, we begin all over again.
All right, step 1, run a pilot project. This is so important. You just don't flip a switch and go live everywhere all at once. That's a recipe for disaster. Think about it like this. You'd never open a brand new super fast roller coaster to thousands of people without testing it first, right? You'd send one cart around, maybe with some test dummies. It's the exact same idea here.
So, why bother with this pilot? Well, it's your safety net. It lets you manage risk by testing on a much smaller scale. You can catch all those weird, unexpected problems early on. And you get to make adjustments before the huge, high-stakes launch. It's just smart. It's being prepared. Okay. So the pilot was a success. Now it's time for the main event. Step 2, deploy to the production environment. This is it. This is the moment your model goes from being a practice run to a live, breathing tool. It's no longer a drill. It's out there, interacting with real data, making real predictions, and helping people make actual business decisions.
Now, once it's live, a project this important is just too big for the data team to handle alone. The team itself has to grow. It needs to become more specialized, and this is often a huge cultural shift for a company. The project stops being that thing the data team is working on and becomes a core part of the business that everyone has a stake in.
So who are these new teammates? Well, you're bringing in engineers to manage the whole complex production environment. You're going to need IT teams to make sure the model plays nicely and integrates smoothly with all the other systems. And, critically, you need operations teams on the ground monitoring its day-to-day performance. It really does become a true team effort. And here's something people often forget. A live model is not a set-it-and-forget-it kind of thing. You can't just launch it and walk away. Its performance is going to change over time as the world changes. Just like that robot we talked about needs its batteries checked and its software updated, a data model needs constant care and feeding to keep working the way it should. So what does that care and feeding actually look like in practice? Well, the team is actively keeping an eye out for any drops in accuracy. They're ready to jump in and retrain the model with fresh data whenever it's needed. And they're always on the lookout for weird new types of data that the model wasn't originally trained on, because that can really throw things off. Okay, so you're doing all this work. How do you actually know if it's paying off? That's where key performance metrics, or KPIs, come into play. These are basically just specific measurements, often displayed on a cool dashboard, that tell the team, hey, is this thing actually helping the business? They're the proof that the model is delivering the value it was supposed to.
All right, we've walked through all the steps, but let's take a step back and zoom out for a second. Why is this whole operationalize phase so incredibly important? What's the real payoff here?
This is really the heart of it all.
Operationalizing is what magically turns an abstract data model into a real, tangible business tool. It's what makes sure the deployment is safe and effective. But most importantly, it's the bridge that connects the geeky world of data analytics to actual, measurable business value. This is how you set yourself up for long-term success.
I mean, this quote really says it all, doesn't it? Without this phase, a model would stay stuck in the lab forever. It's just a cool science experiment. It's this phase that lets it out into the world to actually make a difference.
But here's the final and maybe most interesting part. This whole journey, it doesn't really have an end. In fact, it's the beginning of a never-ending loop of discovery and improvement.
Right, because the data lifecycle is, well, a cycle. Once a model is out there in the real world, the team learns so much from its results. And those results, they spark new ideas. They help identify completely new questions you didn't even know you had. And that kicks off the entire data analytics process all over again. It's a constant, beautiful cycle of getting smarter.
So that really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. In the world of data, every single answer you find just leads to a newer, more interesting question. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If you could ask your data anything, what will it ask next?